mais triste do que a morte da ilusão.
A barátomhoz megyek, hazamegyek.
On August 28, 2009, the world got to know a deep and introspective musical project called Guit Machine. Songs intertwined in a human essence, expressing feelings and thoughts based on a real life experience. Lori and Arjen Lucassen, the minds behind the project. With only 3 members and a guest drummer, Guit Machine was a project at the point completely opposite to the last work released by Lucassen. In This Perfect Day was the only album released, but it was interesting enough for everyone to get to know a side of Lucassen's compositions, which we were not used to hearing. Well, everyone was to experience Ayreon's latest album, the enigmatic 010110001, or Just Wife. An incredible album, featured almost 20 singers and several other skilled musicians, a complex theme about how the human race arrived on this planet and how forever another race, manipulation or evolution, and then a simple thing, a thing that we can fit into your lives, something totally different. Arjen Lucassen always surprised with the musicians he invites to his project, mainly because everyone imagines that there is a complexity and a job that only an inspired genius can perform perfectly.
Well, first of all, it's a new challenge, because many people tell me like you work with 17 singers and it's your talent, you're a genius that you can work with so many singers. But actually it's easy. It's easy if you have 17 singers. You have this heavy part, you have a heavy singer sing it, you have this soft part, you have a soft singer sing it, you know, but I think it's much harder with one singer to make a whole album. That's interesting. So that was a challenge for me. And also on the last Ayreon, I had 17 singers, which was like way too many. You know.
Sort of logistic nightmare?
Logistic nightmare, a lot of arranging, a financial nightmare. But also, if you have 17 singers and you have to divide them over the album, you can't really explore their talents enough.
Guit Machine introduced everyone to the only singer who won Ayreon away that he understood would be perfect for the project, Jesper Steverlink. Jesper is a part of the Belgian rock band called Ayreon, which has 4 albums released. Yeah, the choice of the singer is something really interesting, because Lucassen saw someone with high precision. He wanted several elements of the singer, essential elements in the voice and the personality that he was sure he found when he heard Jesper.
So this time I wanted to have one singer and use all the facets of his voice. So I needed this singer who could do it all, who could do the power stuff, who could do the very fragile stuff, the emotional stuff. And that was really hard. I think with Lori we've been looking for singers for months, listening to everything, just finding one guy. You know, it was a real challenge, just finding one guy who could do the whole album. Well, I get emails from fans every day, really. I get loads of emails from fans who suggest singers to me, and I always listen to them, but 99% of the time I'm like, no, it's not my style. And then I got a mail from a Belgian fan who said, well, this band called Ayreon, you might like the singer, and I was like, well, let's check it out. So I went to their MySpace, and I was like, damn, I like this voice, you know, but can he do it all?
And what was it that appealed to you, that you liked about the singing?
The emotion in his voice, the sound of his voice, his pronunciation, which is perfect.
Yeah.
It just gave me goosebumps, and that's basically what it's all about for me. So then a journalist friend of mine knew him, and he said, well, he's playing close by very soon and I can get you to the show. So I went to the show and I saw him live, and that was it. I went with Lori and we were both standing like, whoa!
Okay.
And he had a lot of power. Yeah, but I think that's a general mistake that people make and that I make myself, you know, is that when you hear that, okay, Jesper, he's from this band called Ayreon, it's a rock band or alternative band, so he probably doesn't know any classical music, or he probably doesn't listen to hard rock or anything else, so it's just a generalization that you easily make. And Arjen was talking to me, yesterday I was listening to Massive Attack, and I was like, wow, he listens to all this. He's like me, I listen to a lot of different kind of bands. And what really drew me in was that when I got to talk with him on the phone for like an hour or something that we mailed before.
I think it was 2 hours actually.
Or 2 hours, yeah. So, and I was like, yeah, this guy, he's all about the music, man. And then I started listening again to the songs, and then I was happy to do it. And for me it was a challenge as well, because it's easily said that, oh yeah, I can do this, I can sing this. It's a different genre, it's a different kind of thing. And also, like Arjen said, it's a challenge to do a whole album where you sing really powerful stuff. Then you have to interpret the lyrics, and there are emotional bits which you can't use your range for. You have to really get into the music and sing it. So, but it was, for me, it was great. And I did a lot of backing vocals, which was really new for me. So I learned a lot from doing this album with Arjen.
Lori Linstruth is also in charge of this project as well. Lori plays a key role with Lucassen, as she takes care of various departments related to Ayreon and other side projects. Lori was part of the initial formation of the band Stream of Passion. Shortly after Lucassen left, Lori also decided to leave. Her contribution to Guit Machine is practically the essence of the project, since she wrote all the lyrics of the songs, using her life and events as a basis, along with Lucassen's shared feelings and thoughts. Yeah, I see the connection between Lucassen and Lori was very deep in terms of song writing, from the lyrics to the instrumental, the atmosphere, and the mood that songs can convey, and the skill that Lori had when in 2 hours she wrote a song that was enough for Lucassen to understand that she should write the entire album.
It happened really by accident. Arjen wanted to sing some guide vocals, and
I wanted to play Jesper a song with vocals, but I didn't have lyrics yet. So I was like, hey Lori, can you quickly, like, in 2 hours, can you write some lyrics down? Then I can sing guide vocals, I can sing to Jesper. So she wrote some lyrics down and I sang them, and I was like, whoa, this is really good, you know? This is something I can't do. I mean, I'm great at writing science fiction and fantasy lyrics about weird monsters and and aliens and stuff, but I couldn't do these cryptic, deep lyrics. So then I asked, well, could you do a whole lyric? Could you maybe do all the lyrics?
Because the lyrics are very deep, are very personal, are very dark at places. Was it right from the start when you started to write, sort of mood of
Yeah, I think so, because we talked about it and didn't really have a concept to begin with. We thought that I could just get started writing about, when you write anything creative, I think it has to come from yourself. So just start writing what would come naturally and let the concept grow out of what came out. And because both of us have been through horrible depressions, and I've been thinking a lot about those kind of things, I think it was natural that it gravitated towards the darker side.
And we also have the guest drummer for this album, Chris Maitland. He is well known for his stints in the band Porcupine Tree in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, Lucassen said he chose Chris for his versatility, someone who felt the album the right way to put the drums with the necessary strength, both in the heavy parts and the lighter parts, like a singer like Jesper, and that performed perfectly, so he chose perfectly.
By the way, we filmed this in the garden because Chris had a bizarre gardening accident and passed away. Well, it's no secret that I'm a big Porcupine Tree fan, especially the whole first period where Chris was playing for them. And I went to a lot of live shows, and I just loved the way he sat behind his drums, you know, very emotional and very technical combination of the two. So I actually approached him earlier for an Ayreon album. Unfortunately, there was a time problem then, so it didn't work out. But then this time I thought this is the right project for him.
Yeah.
And lots of people ask me, why didn't you work with Ed? Because Ed is an animal, you know.
Yeah.
Ed is like a power drummer. And usually on Ayreon albums, where there was like a soft part, there were no drums. And the big problem with this Guit Machine album is that now on the soft part there is drums. So there's, it might surprise you to hear that on Ayreon albums it's actually only 50% drums.
Yeah.
But here it's like maybe 80% drums, because he can play very subtle as well. And I approached him and he was hard to convince. And I clearly said to him, listen, we have a week. You know, we can just compose. You know, we're gonna compose. We're not gonna record your drums. We're gonna compose. Try to find the good things, and we can go get any way you want. So there's no rules, and I think that's what made him do it in the end.
I believe that at this moment, there's no need to introduce Arjen Lucassen and his history, but we can hear your thoughts on that work at that time. I think Lucassen needed to find a way to release feelings from a bad phase that he went through, feelings that Lori also experienced, and that was a trigger for Guit Machine to happen. The combination of similar experiences they had both was more than enough for all the songs to be written and the atmosphere of the album to be created with a peculiar originality.
Yeah, it's not a big secret. I got divorced and moved to a new place, you know, and that's hard. And then on top of that, I lost my sense of taste and smell, which is called anosmia. And a lot of people joke about it, like you didn't have any taste at all. You know? even before, you know. Wasn't it you? Wasn't it you who said that? No, not me.
But they were talking about musical taste, I
right,
suppose.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I usually respond, my taste in friends, you mean? But no, but that's a heavy thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You drink your cup of coffee or whatever, or your chips or whatever, and you don't taste it. You don't smell the world anymore. You get up, and it's summer, and it's not there. And that was pretty heavy. And then, of course, being a cyberchondriac, I looked it up on Wikipedia. And you read like the most horrible diseases you can have. So at the time, Lori wasn't living here yet, and I called her up. I got this disease, and each week I came up with a new disease that I had.
Okay. And, so you were already writing your will, almost.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. And how about you? Are you willing to say anything about it, or?
Yeah, it's something I've struggled with my whole life, off and on, and I don't think it's so interesting for people to know the details, but I will say from the point of view of creativity, I think when you go through extreme feelings, both positive and negative, it can give you something that you can use.
Yeah.
But you can't do it when you're in the middle of a depression. At least for me, I could never, when I'm down in the shit, be able to actually be productive and create anything. But I think now, when I'm in a good part of life and feeling good, that I could draw from those experiences.
And of course, this album is a perfect example of it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you can see how all that combination of feelings brought a perfect name to the project.
I've read quite a bit about depression throughout the years, and I had recently read some scientific article or heard about it on a podcast or something about a new study that had shown that guilt was one of the main factors in depression oftentimes, and that it's like an automatic response for people suffering from depression, this just feeling of guilt, even for things that are not at all your fault. And I started thinking about that it was like a machine in your mind creating all of this guilt. So, and then it ended up in a lyric because it was something I was thinking about. And then Arjen saw the lyric and thought, oh, cool band name. And that's...
With so many references, bases and feelings placed in the songs, it's possible to notice that On This Perfect Day has a path without distractions. Yeah, Lori completely assumed the lyrics of the songs, and I believe that this was very important for a coherence to exist, even though the album does not have a storyline as it happens in Ayreon. The relationship of feelings and sound atmosphere connect the 6 songs from beginning to end. And she was surprised by this total freedom to create the lyrics, and of course, assuming a project coming from Lucassen, she knew it would be a big and very, very important.
And for me, every time I would finish one, I would be like, oh no,
No, but
I have to like it, Arjen has to like it, and then Jesper has to like it as well. It was a lot of pressure, actually.
Yeah.
She said the biggest obstacle was overcoming the expectations. Can you imagine it? Lucassen expectation, Lucassen fans, or from Jesper? Anyway, after incredible album from last year, so she followed internal aspiration, something really true, as we talked before, and have a partner who went through similar situations and things beyond certainly contribute, like Lucassen loss of taste and smell. And this is really interesting. This is really cool because you don't use your imagination as much in Ayreon, but you use your memory and your heart, especially for those who have had a similar experience or face depression at a certain level. And this scene was essential for Jesper could give himself to the project completely, since it's something that he is very familiar with. To sing familiar things, to compose familiar things, it helps to get to have identification and emotion in the voice that embrace who is listening, and it makes the person feel the truth.
For me, I really like the lyrics. The lyrics are really good.
Yeah.
And I read a lot, and I thought I could really relate to it because the lyrics are really important for me as well. I think if the lyrics would have been more about science fiction or whatever, I probably wouldn't have been able to relate to it and wouldn't have been able to do the project. But I think
it was the first thing he said when he mailed, like, I don't want to do other people's lyrics. I said, yeah, but these are good lyrics and maybe you should listen to them or read them.
We're really well written and they're about universal themes. I guess a lot of people have been going through lots of difficult times and emotions in their lives. It's part of growing up and struggling. And for me, you know, well, I didn't really have a depression, but I was sick for a year. You know, I'm a musician. I lost my job for a year and a half. Couldn't write anything, couldn't do anything. You see most of your friends disappear after a while. So it's, but I've always been a guy myself that had like this kind of melancholy inside, whatever. Not depression, but like a state of melancholy. So there's also lots of music and lyrics that I relate to, that I like, that are about a bit about the darker side of life. And so I think that's why the lyrics related to me, and I think I was able to, you know, perform them.
Yeah, so it was really also, apart from the music, an emotional experience.
Yeah, for me it's very important. I couldn't sing anything like if the music was great, but if the lyrics were crap or something you can't relate to, and I think people hear that. I think you can't lie to people if you sing something and it's a fake emotion, anyone can hear it, I think.
Overall, Arjen Lucassen expressed himself completely on the instrumental. With the exception of the drums, he composed and played all the melodies and the other instruments to create the unique atmosphere of the On This Perfect Day. The instrumental part, Lori only played the guitar solos, and this is evident when you know her style, can hear it on each note. She is an exceptional guitarist. Lucassen is undoubtedly one of the best musicians to work, without time pressure and something commercial that needs to be released on a specific date. Freedom at work can generate better results.
Of course, with Ayreon, expectations of fans are huge.
Yeah.
Especially using all these famous singers of the whole world. And you know, on the one side, I need this challenge.
Yeah.
On the other side, it was great this time to do something where people don't expect anything.
Yeah.
You know, just follow my heart and just don't think about it. Just do whatever I feel like and don't think commercially at all. And yeah, I'm very curious how people are gonna, if they're gonna like this album, what they're gonna say. Because I really, I don't think I say this all the time, that my last album is my best album.
Yeah.
I didn't say that, I think, with the last Ayreon album, because I don't think it is. But I do think this is my best side project.
Yeah.
I think it's thanks to these two people. I think it's thanks to the great lyrics. Really amazing. I mean, they sound good, and the meaning is good, and yeah, Jesper's voice was my number one choice for this. And he handled all the aspects of the songs perfectly.
Yeah.
Like the softer parts and the heavy parts. And I don't know, it's, yeah, like you said, it's all so personal.
Yeah.
No concessions, no compromises.
Yeah.
Although there is a democracy, there were no compromises, which is like a contradiction in a way.
Yeah, I work in Arjen's home studio, and it was, for me, it was great. I mean, every song, first song I did with him didn't end up on this album, was for the compilation album of the Ayreon record. And I was surprised that things were going so quickly. Because normally I'm singing, there's people watching, and they're like, oh, I think this, I think that. And he just told me basically, it's great, man. I was like, is he saying that? Because I just met him, you know, is he just saying that, or does he actually like it? And it just, we work really fast, I think, singing-wise. There's a lot to do, a lot of backing vocals, which for me was really new, singing all these harmony parts that Arjen created. And that was really interesting for me, and I told him in the beginning, I said, I'm really not used to it. I have hardly any harmonies on my own record. I don't know why, but apparently I don't do that kind of thing. I never thought of it, really. And so I said to him, it's going to be hard, you know, for me, because I never done it before. But it went really quickly, you know, just he played me the harmonies on the guitar.
He had a feel for it. And we had an acoustic guitar there, and we were working out what sounds the best. This, okay, that's cool. So he definitely had a feel for it.
But what I like the most about Arjen is that he's very positive.
Yeah.
And he's a hard worker, obviously, creating all this music, but he's really positive, and that's really good for me as well as a singer. It's like, it's not that you shouldn't be critical on what you're doing, but afterwards you always are critical. But at the moment, it's good to have a vibe that is just geared towards the song and the experience, and there's some positivity there.
Well, I can be positive because I like what I hear, you know.
Oh, well, okay, you know, it's
yeah, it's not hard.
So it was like,
I don't think I could fake it. Like, oh yeah, great.
No, so it was easy working, and for me, in the past, my own experiences with my band, it's always been not due to my band Eric, but it's been harder in the studio. It's been sometimes more of an unnatural thing, because for me it was natural to rehearse, to sing, to play live, and then go in the studio, and everybody was, you know, concentrating more on how things were sounding than the actual performance or whatever. And for me personally, the performance is probably the most important thing, I think, not because I'm the singer, but that's what people listen to. That's what gives your song the magic, or doesn't give it magic, and it's just some stale, you know, empty product.
And it's clear that appearing a Brazilian guy in the last track was a surprise. I would really like to know who made that recording. I imagine that Feelings was incredible. Only 19 voices were on the CD. The others that did not appear are on the special version, in the instrumental, in the bonus.
Lucassen surprised the fans with something unusual. Asked them to send small audios, their own recordings with phrases about thoughts, emotions, or deep feelings to insert on the disc, spoken in their own language. This brought a unique personality to the album.
Well, Lori and I were talking about what can we do, what little extra thing can we do.
Yeah.
Because with Ayreon there's lots of extras.
Yeah.
All these singers and all these things happening. And this time
now
it was
just
like,
one singer.
And we were like, I'm very close with the fans.
Yeah.
I answer all my messages and all my mails and stuff. We were like, isn't there a way we can involve the fans in this? And we started talking, and we had an idea what if they can send in their messages, you know, their feelings about guilt. and maybe we can put them in a booklet. And then we were thinking like, whoa, wouldn't it be cool to use some on the CD, actually the actual audio. And of course you could say that Pink Floyd did something like that on Dark Side of the Moon. I think they asked like who did they ask?
I think street workers,
roadies,
roadies.
people in the studio. Yeah. Right, yes.
Questions for them to
And it ended up in the album, you know, and still there's no Dark Side of the Moon, you know. Everyone knows these little quotes, and they were like very special. Yeah. And I've always liked talking voices or phone voices on albums. And and then Lori arranged the whole thing basically. So.
Yeah, how did the people respond?
It was an overwhelming response. A lot more people responded than I thought. I think most people thought it was a good idea and an interesting idea, and were happy to participate. So I think it went really well.
Okay, so I think we got about 200 quotes from all over the world. Yeah. So every country imaginable. Yeah. Okay. Quotes. So on the CD itself, we use about 20-25 quotes, all from different countries. Yeah. And I think a lot of people were disappointed that they weren't chosen. Yeah. And that feels bad. You know? Yeah. So we decided to also use the other messages, and they're going to be on the bonus CD. And there's an instrumental part where we put all the messages of the other people. No, we couldn't do it all because it was like 40 minutes of messages. Yeah. We also wanted some audio on the CD. So. Yeah. Okay. Also some music might be. Yeah, of course I listened to a few of those messages, and I realized that the people that speak in their own language, you know, I think I heard Spanish. So is that the way that you invited those people? Yeah, because it's been done before, and it's all in English, and we were like, wow, wouldn't it be really personal if it's like their own language? And then of course you got people saying, yeah, but I don't understand these languages, I don't know what they're saying. I think that makes it special, you know, it leaves something to guess. Like with Ayreon, everything is very obvious and I explain everything. Yeah. This time I want the whole thing to be more cryptic. Yeah. Okay, but were you surprised or moved probably with the content?
Definitely moved. Yeah, I wouldn't say so much surprised because I anticipated that we would get people who would take it very seriously and use it as a chance to maybe express something very personal.
Some quotes that are like almost. You don't want to use them, you know, they're so personal, and you're thinking like, whoa, this person has to listen to this album for the rest of his life and hear that. So some of them were like, oh, maybe they're, you know, maybe we shouldn't use them.
It's almost too personal that you wonder, would that person really want this to be on the album? It felt a bit too personal sometimes.
And of course we had Jesper's message, you know. Yeah. So sad that we decided not to put it on.
Having your voice and Lucassen album is definitely an incredible thing. Therefore, we have some participations from those who had their audio selected for the album.
Hi, I am Stefan Fenker. I am the second person you hear speaking on the Guit Machine album. What my message says, what it means to me, and how it all came to be, I'm gonna tell you all of this right now. So I first got into Ayreon via Star One basically. I heard Set Your Controls on a metal CD sampler that was attached to a magazine back in the day, back in 2002 I guess it was. I mainly listened to melodic metal bands back in the day, like Halloween and Blind Guardian, Nocturnal Rites and other such bands, and yeah. I was really blown away by Set Your Controls, not only because of the concept, but because of the whole catchiness and everything, the vocalists, all of that. Mostly, I was mostly into keyboard stuff back then, and I loved the track, absolutely. But I didn't check out the album until April of 2004, really. That was what turned me into a fan, basically, because I had never heard that style of singing, this dialogue kind of way of singing by of those vocalists before. So that was when I checked out more by that strange person called Arjen Lucassen. And it was 2004, so the latest thing that was out was The Human Equation. And that one really had a deep emotional impact on me. It kind of opened the door for me to the whole Ayreon universe. And yeah, of course it made me a fan and also a collector of all things Ayreon related. But it also made me join the official Ayreon message board on the web, and I was very enthusiastic about that. And that, my friends, was like the beginning of an era. I met so many people online and also later on in person, and those are people that are still very near and dear to my heart. Still think about them a lot and I miss them. You know who you are. Ayreon, I know you've got the secret to time travel somewhere hidden in that cellar of yours. So if you're ever going to experiment with it, and even if it's just time telepathy, or if it turns out to be our final experiment of time travel, I'll gladly be your lab rat, so contact me. I know you know how to contact me. Yeah, so it was also thanks to Ayreon that I made a very good friend in my own hometown. I showed him Dawn of a Million Souls and he was so hooked that from that moment on we did everything Ayreon related together. Like we went to fan meets, concerts, and we celebrated each release the day it came out. And we got into the hype before the albums came out and all of that. Yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, fast forward to March of 2009. Lori posted a thread on the Ayreon message board saying, yeah, please send in your recorded messages in your own language. We're gonna pick some to use on the Guit Machine album. And the thread said more about like the whole concept of the Guit Machine album, and yeah, I found it very interesting, and I thought to myself, okay, if I recorded a message, what would that be? And I didn't have to think long because I already had something specific in mind. I was very nervous about it though, I almost didn't do it, I must say. Imagining myself speaking like into a phone and saying this message and yeah, this means, to me it means this and that, and it was kind of embarrassing to me, but I thought, yeah, come on, go for it, just do it. What's the worst that could happen? They could not like it and then not use it, who cares? But just at least try. So I did. I was at my then girlfriend's place, I remember, and she handed me the phone and said, yep, do it. Okay, I'm absolutely gonna do it now. I was like, could you please leave the room and close the door because it's kind of embarrassing? But yeah, so I did it. And the message that I recorded was German, my native language, as most of you could probably tell because of my accent. The message says, wenn man lang genug in den Spiegel schaut, blickt man in die Augen des Teufels. And that means, when you look into the mirror long enough, you gaze into the eyes of the devil. So why this message? I heard that sentence, or a very similar one, back when I was really young, in the demo version of a computer game, actually. It was the game was called Tender Loving Care. It was kind of this edgy, psychological, full motion video kind of game. Those interactive movies, you might remember those, with John Hurt, basically. It was a good one, but I only had that demo version, and it had some kind of like multiple choice psychological test thing. It was kind of quirky, but yeah, that sentence stuck with me for a long time. Not only because, like, when you actually do that, like look into the mirror, deeply gaze into your own eyes for long enough, the person in the mirror kind of, it doesn't, he or she doesn't feel like it's your reflection. It looks like a strange, different person, like when you do that long enough. It's strange, but as a kid I did that sometimes. Not all the time though, I'm not that crazy. But yeah, but of course not only that, but the deeper meaning behind it, of course, is that, yeah, if you look into the mirror, like, weary with your troublesome thoughts, like, you sometimes, you don't like what you see. You have those regrets because of decisions you made, like how you disappointed people in your life. Things you said, you regret those for longer than you probably should. So yeah, all of that. And the thing is, that was all you. It's not like some external force that made you do something. It was all that person you see in the mirror, right? So we do our best to manage, live life the best way we know how, and yeah, but still, something in us either messes up or, I don't know, there's always this negative part of our thoughts that creeps up every once in a while. I guess you could call that the devil, so that's why I thought this message was really appropriate for the album. So I recorded the line, and some weeks later I got a message from, a personal message from Lori on the message board saying, yep, I think we're gonna use your line. And I was like, oh man, that is so, I really couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, maybe they're gonna change their mind later on or something. But yeah, now I make a habit of not listening to any preview snippets or songs before an Ayreon production comes out, because I once ruined the 01011001 album beforehand because I listened to those Guess the Singer clips, like all of them, for months on end. So I knew them by heart, and when the album came out, I felt like, oh, I know so much of the music already, and of like what they sing, and they all seemed kind of out of place because like the lines that they are singing, they were arranged differently in the preview snippets, and it was like, that's a strange experience. So yeah, that's why I tend to not do that anymore. So I didn't listen to any Guild Machine stuff beforehand, but then this friend of mine I told you about, the one who I always share all Ayreon related things with, he was like, Stefan, you've got to hear this. You are in the first few seconds of the album. Like I think it was maybe in a preview snippet on the web, or that he heard, or maybe even like you could listen to the song in the browser somewhere on some site or something, and he was like, it's you, you're in there, I can already hear you. And yeah, it was so surreal to hear myself speaking there, because I never could listen to that message that I spoke into the telephone. Basically, I never heard that again. I can't say for sure, but yeah. And I really didn't know how it turned out, like for quite a while. So yeah, as I said, I think the sentence really fits too. It kind of summarizes the whole idea, the whole concept of Guild Machine, without me intending to, because I had that line, or like a very similar one, in my head for, at that time, I think 20 years or something. So it followed me all my life, basically. So yeah, and just the thought of people out there hearing my voice saying that sentence, it's still so surreal to me, and I still feel so like immensely honored. So yeah, it's really difficult to describe that. So thank you so much, Ayreon. Yeah, that's that from me. Thanks for having me in the video. Bye bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Thomas, and my message was featured on Guild Machine. The first time I heard about Arjen or Ayreon was in 2002 or 3, something like that. A friend of mine recommended that I check out the Universal Migrator album, because I was a massive Symphony X and Stratovarius fan at the time, and of course this album features both Timo Kotipelto and Russell Allen. So yeah, ever since I heard that, I was hooked. And then later I went on to buying The Human Equation, of course, because there was James Labrie featured on that album, and yeah, the rest is history. The first time I heard about the Guild Machine project was when somebody posted on the Ayreon message board that they're searching for spoken messages from fans. And of course I was very interested. Even better, they said that you can record that message on whatever device you can get your hands on, basically. So, and I had my Nokia N70, which basically is the reason my message is featured on that album, because I didn't have any other equipment to record with. So thanks, Nokia. I don't remember actually what I felt when I heard that my message would be featured on the album. And I don't remember if they even announced which messages were featured before the album was released. But I'm guessing I was really happy and surprised. And still am, actually. Very surreal to pick up that album and see your name in the covers. So my message was featured on Green and Cream. I spoke Finnish, and translated to English my message was I fear death, not for my own sake but for others. I fear that my death will bring sorrow and pain to my loved ones. So happy 11th birthday Guit Machine, and thank you Arjen for the music. Bye.
Hello guys, my name is Vinicius. I'm from Rio, Brazil, but I live now in Poland, in Krakow, and I'm responsible for the recording in Brazilian Portuguese in the Guit Machine album some years ago. And you can remember, if you're familiar with the album, you could listen to the Nada Mais Triste do que a Morte da Ilusão that was present on the Perfection track, the last track on the album. Thanks Arjen for putting me in the last track. Sorry the other guys, but I got the best track. So yeah, well, that sentence is interesting because I recorded 10 sentences in Portuguese. At that time, I don't remember, but Arjen was through a severe depression. He just had a divorce with his wife, and he was on a disease called anosmia. He could not feel a smell or any taste, so that's why the album is so dark. At that time, he put how you call it, answering machine. So you call there and this number that he provided, and you record a sentence about sadness, despair, delusion, anything that's it's a bad feeling, lack of friendship, loneliness, whatever. So I recorded 10 sentences in Portuguese, some of them famous, not mine sentences, another sentence of mine. I tried to diversify it the best as possible. So 5 of those sentences I recorded was from Brazilian authors like Paulo Coelho and some less known authors in Brazil. And he chose this message, Nada Mais Triste do que a Morte da Ilusão, which literally means nothing is sadder than the death of the illusion. I chose this one because it's a personal take on this famous sentence, nothing is sadder than the death of an illusion. So when I record that, I try to make look a little bit more personal for me. So that's why I changed a little bit for nothing is sadder than the death of the illusion. Like it's a personal loss for me. I really like the sentence, I really like the recording. I think the album is absolutely amazing. I love with the Perfection track because it's such an amazing track. And the vocals, the melody, the end is absolutely perfect. So I'm really into that album. About my personal experience with Ayreon, I started to listen to Ayreon for about in the year 2000, between the Into the Electrocastle and the Migrators. I love, at that time I was a really big fan of symphonic metal and power metal. So also Iron Maiden, so Bruce was in that album, and there is Ralph Shippers, Fabio Lione, Timo Cotipelto, so it was an all-stars album, a dream team. So this called my attention, and I started to listen to the album, and oh my god, the story. So I think I immediately drawn to that album, and it's such an amazing album to today. Very solid, very good album. For sure, it's my top 5 Ayreon album. If I have to choose about my favorite Ayreon albums, it will be The Human Equation, The Theory of Everything, Into the Electric Castle, The First Migrator for sure, and I believe the first Star One. I really like the Star One albums. The cast is such an amazing cast. Well, Ayreon always has the best cast. I was in Tilburg last year for the 20 years of the Into the Electric Castle. I had the opportunity to meet with some of the singers there, Anak, also Edwin Bellows and Fish, and you know, such a legend. It was an amazing experience being in Tilburg and had the opportunity of finally meet the fans and have this gathering people around you that everybody's amazing and really lovers of Ayreon music. So it was really nice opportunity. Thank you so much for the opportunity to take a little bit about my story and listen to the other guys, and thanks Ayreon World for all of this. See you next, guys.
This 11-year-old masterpiece on 2020 is not just another Lucassen side project, something simple or just to increase a release number. It's an expression of life, of emotions, feelings that have been musicalized and that connect with our lives in a way that few things can do.